This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
What is up, everybody? This is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. Man, I am excited about today. This weekend, we're basically celebrating, or not celebrating, observing, really, Veterans Day. So I know it's going to be super, super exciting. And there's a lot of different things that are going to be going on around the community. I know in my community, tomorrow, I'll be as being part of the VFW. I am going to be going to the cemetery and actually placing flags and replacing flags that are currently there. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. If you're in the area here in Texoma, we're going to be at West Hill Cemetery at 10 o'clock. We're going to start doing that. So that's going to be that's pretty cool. It's been raining super hard. Like last night, it rained really hard. My backyard is flooded, so I was supposed to actually have some people come over because we are a part of a organization that I'm actually going to be highlighting today. It's called Beekeepers for Vets. They were supposed to be coming up here. Both my wife and I are actually members of the group. We harvest the honey. We actually have several hives here in our house, and so we were supposed to actually give training tomorrow to new veterans that are receiving their new hives. So that's what we're gonna be doing. But I'm gonna be having the executive director. His name is Herb Kuter. He will be here in a little while. I'm waiting for him to actually hop on so we can actually start grilling him like we always do. Giving him the tough questions that nobody wants to ever either answer or ask. So we're going to be doing that today. But I hope everything goes well today because I know that H Train just actually finished his show. He had a great guest this morning. Joe Allen Christie was his guest. That was actually pretty cool. He's a upcoming artist. He actually is also a veteran. From my understanding, he is a contractor for some new I don't know. I think it's a new branch of military called Space Force. I don't know, a bunch of space cadets over there. So that's probably where he's at right now. He's probably training all the cadets to make sure that they're not spacey. So I know my dad jokes aren't on point today. I don't have H Train usually is here, to back me up with some of these dad jokes, and sometimes he's corny and I'm not, and we just feed off each other, so that's even worse. So, but yeah, if you need to check out his Joe Allen Christie's, check out his website, joeallenchristie.com. He posts all of his stuff. He's on social media, so he's actually going to be going on. So hopefully. He gets some exposure and he'll be really good. I've heard his song. He's actually a pretty talented guy. So glad he's part of us. He's part of the MBR family. So we're good to go. So anyway, today is Friday, the 24th of May. What goes on? Everybody that's out there today, if you want to call in and just chat for a little while, the phone lines are open. Anytime you want to come in and just chat and BS or whatever, we're here for that. Just so you know, I am working on actually getting some guests next week. I'm trying to get a big TikTok guy to actually come on the podcast. I talked to him earlier today. He was on his live, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I'll check it out. Uh, he's like, I get a lot of requests, but nobody ever follows you. So we can we can chat it up for a little while because this guy he's like a uh, uh, Gen X guy. So all of his content that he does on TikTok, it's hilarious. And I'm just in there. He's got a bunch of merch on it, and I don't want to jinx it yet because I think the guy he was pretty interested. So hopefully he'll be on, so it'd be pretty cool. So we'll wait to see. He's gonna get back to me today. He said so. He was still on his live because he's actually he what he does on his live, he actually counts out all of his merchandise and actually does the orders on there. So it's just funny. It's super funny. Hey, what's up, Big Grizz? I know. Thanks for watching, man. You're my one and only right now. So you're my big boo today. There he is. All right, hold on. I'm gonna add this dude on stage. What up, brother? How you doing? What's up, brother?
What's going on? How you guys doing?
I am not even gonna do that. Oh, what's up, brother? Because that got old after like 10 minutes. I was like, okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. And actually, Joel did it yesterday because he had the glasses on, and I called in to actually get the phone line set up because I know he was gonna be gone, and he actually did that. I was like, oh, dude, you like literally look just like him except that you're bald,
Bro.
No. Oh my God! I live in the life of baldness.
Besides, I got all of this. There's
Yeah.
just nothing up here anymore.
It just transplanted from up here to down here. I was joking with the other day. Like somebody was actually saying, I was like, "Oh, dude, like you got so much like white." I was like, "No, dude, that's just called experience and a lot of different crap that I take from everybody else right now." So, all
All the
right,
experience.
yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, no, it's like my son was asking me last night. We were sitting in the hot tub, and he started talking about gray hairs, and I'm starting to get more and more in my beard. And he goes, "What causes that?" I said, "You do." And he
Yeah,
looked at
right.
me and he goes, "What?" I was like, "You guys cause stress, and it causes gray beards." No, that doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. Yes, it does, bud.
Yeah, exactly. All right, dude. My one guest that's coming on right now. He actually just joined the backstage. I just texted him telling him, "Give me a minute. I'm introducing you and doing all this other stuff." And it's funny because like I see his little background. He put his organization on there, so that's pretty cool. I was like, all right, we'll go with it. So, all right, hey, your show's coming up after mine, so what are you going to talk about? Because I this morning, dude, I was just talking about the rain, and it just literally threw me off. I was hoping that this morning my power went out 4 times, and I was like, dude, I hope it doesn't happen.
Have you heard of the Mighty Oaks Foundation?
That's another one of our shows, right?
No,
No,
that's the Village Oak Tree. That's
okay.
one of the shows. But the Mighty Oaks Foundation is one of the largest nonprofit Christian-based foundations to bring vets to them to get them out of their area and get them back into faith and give them purpose. I actually have the CEO on today.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's
Cool.
a Marine officer. He retired in the military and he started the foundation. So it's going to be an interesting one. I've been super excited about this. I
When
haven't
you
talked about it.
when you made the request to actually have him on the show, did you have to write it out in crayon?
The funny thing is, I didn't make no request. His HR lady reached out to me and asked if I would have him on my show.
Oh,
And I
cool.
said, of course. He's a public motivational speaker too.
Oh, dude, every time somebody says motivational speaker, I just think of Chris Farley every time, like the I live in a van down by the river guy.
Hey, Chris Farley was awesome.
Oh yeah, no, dude.
You
So,
can't get away from that.
I know.
He was the man.
Exactly. So, all right. So we've reached that point in time where Caesar's going to take a first break, and what we're going to do after we come back, we're going to have our first guest. His name is Herb Kuter, and we are going to ask them the tough questions, the ones that nobody ever wants to ask because nobody ever knows about these organizations. So anyway, stick around for a few minutes. I will be back. I'm joined by Big Grizz. We're doing a crossover show this week and probably next week. I want to say that there's some stuff that we're working on right now that we may do. It's going to be a menage a trois.
I'm
Of
trying.
shows.
I'm trying to get everything together. There's been some medical issues and some certain things that have come up that's kind of putting a stop on it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to swing it. I know you know what we're talking about. So
I know what we're talking about. Like I said, it's a menage a trois of shows. So hey, we're gonna stick around for a bit. We'll be back with Herb Cutter and Big Grizz. So stick around for just a minute.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop. And his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Is proud but torn, but if you knew him you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. 'Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down here the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Marching line. Hey. Hey.
What is going on, everybody? Look who I have there. I have another bearded guy. Everybody, this is
and a bald guy.
And he's halfway there, dude. He hasn't made the full commitment yet.
Hey, I just got my head shaved yesterday, or I got that cul-de-sac look going on too. If I let my hair grow out, where it's just right at the top, it is what it is. You can't get away from it.
Oh my god. Hey, Herb, go ahead and unmute your mic. Your mic is muted. And he is not unmuting his mic. There it is. Nope. Your mic is muted, sir. There it is.
Well,
There it is.
man,
There it
I
is.
promise you, I was hitting hitting the button. Man, I used to do the full shave, but that's a lot of work, man. Now I accept it, and I just with some trimmers, and it's good.
Man, I accept it too, but when you go to a barber shop and you get the hot towel treatment and they massage your head and they straight raise it, I mean, come on.
Man,
Can't
I've
beat
never done
that.
that. I might have to give it a shot.
Well, it is I don't have that issue. I'm not going to take it off because I'm actually sporting my For the Kids Foundation benefit foundation. They were one of my guests on my previous life before I actually joined MBR Radio. But anyway, let's get to the point. Herb, this is Herb. He is part of a foundation called
Beekeepers for Veterans Incorporated.
I've actually talked to her before. I was really surprised to see you had him on here. I've talked to
actually, Herb
the
is a good friend of ours. Like I said, we are a part of his organization. My wife and I are actually, well, mostly my wife. I was just told to actually be there. But we actually have received bees from his organization. So we actually hold for the area that we live in. We actually have the way that they are set up is that they have regional places where actually people come in and do different classes. So for the North Texas area, Texoma area where I live, my house is basically the hub of where we're at. For people to actually come in and actually get classes, look at bees, we'll teach them, have teachable moments for that. And so that's what we do. But yeah, so we are actually part of the organization, and my wife and I actually we were supposed to have people over tomorrow, but because of the intense rain that we've had, my backyard is a complete river and it's a muddle back there where we actually have the bees. So it's not, I don't want to take the liability of somebody slipping on the
No, we don't. We don't want you to take that either, man. I mean, we like y'all too much to have you lose your house because someone broke their leg in your
well,
backyard.
I would just go right turn around and get your house. So I mean, I mean that's how America works.
Yeah, no, I know. I know, and we
So,
really appreciate all y'all do for us. I mean, they are our founding veteran group, two of them, and honestly, Cynthia, yes, she wanted to get involved. She wanted Caesar to kind of get involved too, and it really kind of spiraled out for him quite a bit because he's doing all kinds of stuff now that I guess he wasn't doing before. So good wife, good life right there for you, and look at you now, man. You're
oh
doing
yeah,
awesome. You're helping all kinds of people.
oh yeah.
Um, very involved in that VFW up there. I think what is it, 2277? I
Very
don't
close.
remember what it is.
272. I mean, 272,
2272.
yeah,
They help us out a lot also.
2772,
You know, you know,
2772.
that's the
27.
one note I
Hey,
didn't.
it's a mirror. It's
Yeah,
2772.
they call that dyslexic, right?
That or you haven't had your coffee. I mean,
Then I gave up coffee a couple of years ago. I'm working on my protein shake Fruit Loop flavor. It's pretty good. You should try it, man, if you
I,
haven't.
I can't do that, man. I'm on Olympic, man. I'm a diabetic. Can't do that.
And
So,
I don't think there's any sugars in it. 1 gram, man. 1 gram of sugar.
dude.
Good stuff. Make
I
your beard grow.
No, see, I don't know, man. Like every once in a while, like I get so mad at it. I'm like, I'm just gonna shave it. I'm like, I just wanted it, but then I look at my chin. I'm like, no, I think I'll keep it because I was
Man, you
like, I
got to
want to.
get past that itchy stage and that
Yeah,
annoying stage. And once you get past that, it's like you want to keep going because you want to see how
yeah,
long it's gonna
yeah.
get,
Look, you want to keep going, man. You
right?
need to get some
I mean,
beard butter and beard oil, right?
yep,
Beard oil on the skin will keep the itchy from happening.
yep.
Well, I'll think about it. Maybe once I get sponsored by like what's that brand that they do the shaving for men? Gosh, um, not art, the art of shaving. Maybe I'll do it.
Art of shaving. Well, we need to reach out to them for you, man.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're right now we're trying to get sponsors for the station because I don't know if you know, but this sponsorship or such this station runs literally on all sponsors. Everything that you see that everybody does. We have a great manager, H Train. He actually he spends he has dedicated his life to pretty much doing this for almost free, to make sure
Right.
other veterans that actually have a podcast and like Riz and they he sets everything up. Like he'll do the overlays, he'll do the set up the studio for them, and he'll do pretty much everything that nobody else has done, so he mentors each and every one of us, and then he'll be like, all right, yeah, I don't need you anymore, or actually I can't teach you anymore, this is what you're going to be on your own. So
Yeah,
you've
I'm actually in the
yeah.
process of learning from him to be more of an assistant to him, so it's not
Mhm.
one person doing everything. I mean, because that's a lot for one person.
I
Yeah.
do a little heavy lifting for them. So
Well,
you're
especially
up
when
there
we
too.
have close to 80 vets now that are going to be having shows. I mean, when I started, there was 27.
Yeah, and I followed right behind, but I think I was like maybe a week or two after him. So that's why I came in, because I actually was in the process ever since, like, I think February, and then he took forever to actually get that first appointment, and for me to talk to him and everything. So it was cool. Other than that, I mean, this guy, like I said, he dedicates his life to making sure that every veteran that is on his station um, gets a voice, and then we get a voice heard. And you got to have a good platform in order for you to actually be selected. I mean, no disrespect to anybody else, but everybody that has a show so far has a very good idea of what they want to do and how they want to portray it. Some of us have actually been doing it for quite a little bit longer than most, and it shows. And there's no disrespect in that. I'm just saying that we learn with time on how to do it.
Yeah.
The one thing about uh, this podcast or this station is that it's a teachable station, meaning that nobody else is going to give you uh, the means and the ways for you to actually even have your voice heard. And so he does this. So we try to give him back a little bit more, and we try to volunteer our time to help him out, because the dude suffers from he suffers from a TBI. He's very vocal about it, and sometimes with a TBI, you forget a lot of things, and you're just like your mind stops going and doesn't go uh, quite well, or you forget a lot of things. So we just try to help him out and direct him a little bit better how to do things. So
You got to be that memory every now and then, huh?
yeah, I mean, like, dude,
That's good.
I told you about it yesterday. And even if you didn't tell him, you make him believe you told him, because because he can get
Not to mention MBR's birthday was this last weekend, so it's a big week for all of us.
yeah. Yeah, we were actually gonna do Grizz,
It's
myself,
coming. It's
and
coming.
H, um, but he had to leave right after his show because he has to go to
Some family
a
emergencies
funeral.
going on.
Yeah, so he lost one of his good friends that was actually a family member of MBR as well. So he had to actually fly to Indiana. So he was he's having a hard time right now. So he's going over there right now, and we're just going to support him, and our shows are going to be there for him. So whatever else we can do, then we're here. But anyway, we're getting off track. But Herb, I want to ask you, how did you actually even get started with this? Because when my wife came over and said, all right, we're getting bees, I was like, what? I'm like, we were just talking about getting whiskey right now. I don't understand what's going on. And she said, yeah, we're gonna go to this foundation, we're gonna get some bees, and we're gonna get training and we're gonna go. So how did this begin for you?
And for me, it started off, I just wanted to keep bees, honestly. And so I ordered some, got a Beekeepers for Dummies book. And that first year, my son had gotten back from deployment. He was in Afghanistan and in Rangers. And my wife called me one day and was like, "Hey, Dakota's sitting on that Home Depot bucket just staring at the bees, coming and going." I said, "Oh, that's no big deal." She's like, "For like 30 minutes." I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay, no big deal." And then, a few days later, I get out there and peek, and he's sitting out there watching the bees. So then I thought, well, let me look into this. Maybe there's some sort of therapeutic advantage with bees. Because I mean, he did some things, and you just see in his eyes he's different.
Mhm.
And so I dug into it, and the VA had done. Um, some research and stuff, and I believe right now they actually have a beekeeper program where you can, I think, become like a an apiary or whatever, do it as a business. So once I saw that, and that there's an article about how it was good for PTSD and TBI, the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, hey, let me start something up. Maybe we can help some veterans out, and search the internet. There was a small place in um, Nevada that's a small nonprofit, kind of like us, and that was it. And so I thought, all right, well, let's see what we can do, and talk with my wife about it, and we just kind of kicked it off. And thankfully, we had Rory Carrick that you know donated 2 hives that first year that really got us going, because I'd been putting it off for a little while. From idea to conception is probably like a year and a half.
Mhm.
So here we are, and fortunately we had Rory, and then y'all all wanted to take part in it. And, we're going on our third year of, we call them classes, I guess, with the veterans. If the weather will ever, cooperate with us, we'll hand out some more hives and a little bit of education, and, hopefully, change some people's lives.
Yeah, we've been having issues with the weather, because we already had tried to schedule once last month, and then it rained the day before, and it's just a mess. But yeah, so I want to point something out. Rory Carrick, he is one of the other mentors that actually we talk to quite a bit, and the dude is a
It's
wealth of
great.
knowledge. He's a wealth of
Yeah.
knowledge when it comes to bees, but the dude is also certified badass, because he is he's from South Africa, and he actually was in the military in South Africa. And the dude is like, he's got some stories, but you would never think the way his demeanor is, you would never think he was a certified badass. But I just wanted to point that
Yeah,
out.
just chill out. Was involved in, the Civil War down there, and he's like, so that's fitting though, because he's a veteran, maybe not from here, but so it's just funny how life kind of works out and things fall in place. So great person, and you'd never, yeah, he's just like the kindest, and that accent maybe throws you off a little bit, and yeah,
Yeah,
you'd never
I was just like,
know.
I asked him, I was like, the first time I met him, like, "Are you from England?" He's like, "No." I'm like, Well, where are you from then? Because you have this accent." And he's like, "Oh, I'm from South Africa." I was like, "Oh, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
totally, yeah, that makes sense." Never
yep,
thought it was gonna be South Africa ever in my life. I was like, "Wait, is he Welsh? Is he Irish?"
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
kind of thought Australian,
Yeah,
kind of
that
had
too.
that
Yeah.
little bit like that, but no, he's a great guy, and if it weren't for him, I'd probably still be. I mean, I had done some work, I had to register and all that, but if it wasn't for him just saying, "Hey, I've got 2 hives," you know,
Yep.
that just kickstarted it, and then I kind of got my butt into gear and had some direction. And now this year, hopefully, we'll have about 20 veterans that we actually provided hives for. We've got a couple that. Uh, could afford their own hives or didn't want to take resources from us. So they're going to, kind of come by and check things out. I've gone out and helped one of them move his hives from his Nook boxes into his real hives. And, um, hopefully we just continue to grow, whether, it's veterans or more mentors. Um, it's exciting, and I didn't realize what I would get out of it personally. I wasn't in it for me, but like Cynthia, Caesar's wife, you can really tell that, it's changed, her life. And to me, I mean, that just makes it even more worth it. I thought I was changing other people's lives, but then in the same sense, it's turning around and doing me, good.
Yep.
So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't people don't realize just how much work it is to actually keep bees. Um, like the way that that we approach it is like, okay, we're gonna leave the bees alone for this amount of period of time. That way they can go ahead and start building their hive and building their the nectar and all that stuff that they do in the honey. And then you'll check every 3 or 4 months. You'll check and make sure that they're still good, that the queen's still there, they haven't left or anything like that. So it's a very hands-on, hands-off type of thing that happens, and it's very involved. Um, When we come back from the break, Herb, I want to ask you, we're going to ask you the tough questions that nobody ever wants to ask organizations about things. So after that,
Right.
nope. So you be ready, sir, because we're coming in
Hopefully.
with the big guns. All right.
We'll see, man.
Well, I don't know, man. You're gonna be uncomfortable after we're done. So, anyway, stick around for the break. This is the Battle Rhythm podcast. I'm joined by the Big Grizz with the Big Grizz Show, and also Herb Kuter. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Right. That was a pretty moving video, actually.
Very moving.
Um,
Uh,
and it's so
I mean,
fitting
that's kind of
for
why you do it.
Memorial Day. To be honest with you,
It is.
and
And if I could say something real quick, I saw the 22 where the veterans, 22 veterans kill themselves every day. And currently my son is hiking the Appalachian Trail with his uncle who was a Navy veteran and his cousin, his son, and he's carrying a rock, okay, from Georgia to Maine. For one of his buddies, I don't know his name, but I guess he was a PJ that just recently took his own life, and so he's carrying a rock up there, and I don't know really what he's doing with it, but carrying it for sure, in memory of him I think they're making a video, some
it,
sort of, awareness thing, so
it
just,
could be symbolic. To be honest with you, it can be
yeah,
symbolic. A rock, meaning that it's got weight. So you got
yeah,
weight carried on you, and so you either I don't know the circumstances or what happened, but I'm just assuming or just trying to think of what it would be. I think it would be one of those things where the weight of the rock is the weight of the world, or the weight that he's carrying himself, and so by him
right,
doing this and then placing it somewhere that there it can be a piece, it's symbolic, you know.
yeah,
Very, very
yeah,
symbolic.
definitely,
And
So
it's that weekend. It's a hard weekend for all of us. So
yeah, exactly. And it's a tough weekend for everybody, you know what I mean? Because I see older people, like Vietnam vets, and right now we still have some Korean vets left, and um, it's a tough time for them, for everybody. And the one thing that I really hate about Memorial Day is that people, general public in general, are ignorant and misinformed.
they're
And
very
every time they see a military member or even a veteran, for me, they say, "Oh, thank you for your service." No, that is not what it's for. Memorial Day is for us to remember those that never came home. The
oh,
Memorial Day is for those that are not with us anymore, and they gave the ultimate price for your freedom, for you to to think, to act, to do whatever you do. That's what it's for. And that's the one thing I really hated, the fact that I had to correct. And after a while, it gets annoying, because it's like, you should know, like, consider yourself
yeah,
a patriot, you should know the difference between what our armed forces day is. You don't think those that are still in uniform. Memorial Day is for those that are actually not here with us anymore. And then you have Veterans Day, which is the ones that you should thank me for. Like,
right,
that's the day that you should thank me for. Thank me for my service. That's the time. That's the
yeah,
one.
I think too many people, being a civilian, just kind of take advantage of the life that we have. And, I mean, for me, my father's a Vietnam veteran, and right now, him and my uncle, both Vietnam veterans, are on a bus to DC for the memorial ride or whatever. So that's really cool for them. But, I've always been patriotic and realized the meaning of it.
Yeah.
But now, once you're a parent and you have a son, that that just kind of ups it a notch. And I think, unfortunately, for most of the country, unless they're involved or someone in their family was a veteran and you see the
Right.
loss and know what they go through, it's just, a day to party. And that's,
that
unfortunate.
that's what gets me. And I mean, I grew up, Memorial Day barbecues, 4-day weekend, this and that. It really didn't hit home to me until I was in the military, and I've lost brothers and sisters. And Monday, I got to go see a couple. But I don't like the. Well, I'm not going to say I don't like it, because a lot of people don't understand. They ask what the coins are about, and a lot of people don't understand the military side of what the coins mean, of why you put them on their headstones.
Yeah.
And civilians are all just about wanting to party and think it's a great day,
Yeah.
and in
Oh, meet me
reality,
at the
it's
lake.
not.
Oh yeah, we're gonna grill out. Damn, dude,
It's
like,
it's it's not that day. It's a very mournful day that civilians just don't understand.
no, it's not. And we as veterans, I always take on a role of I don't want to say drill instructor, just instructor, or just a PSA, friendly reminder. Like, look, uh, you really should know the history as to why. Like, you'll see a lot of veterans that are actually like super proud, and they'll wear their like veteran stuff, and we're stuff like this, right? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And this is like I'm doing a shameless plug, but this is like literally how we always feel all the time. Like especially with those of us that suffer from PTSD and like that at some point just don't care anymore. It's like
that's also our generation.
That too, yeah. The Generation X. Oh, dude.
You got the generation, and then you got the military combining, and it's like
it was a perfect brainstorm, like a perfect storm, dude. It was just awesome. But then the reason why I got out is because the newer generation had to ask so many damn questions. Like, we're like, hey, I need to do this, but why? It doesn't matter why. I'm telling you why. I need this done. Like, but why? They never got past there's a bigger picture. Like they didn't see the bigger picture as to why you needed it to have it done. And it was just like always questioning and the reason. Like ask questions later, like get the task done and ask the questions later. And then if we messed up, at least we were able to, do something and then, fix it. But I don't know. That was the only reasons why I couldn't continue on. It was just because it's just like too many damn questions. I don't know how you felt about that. Yeah. So like I said, that's how I felt too. I didn't want to say nothing too.
It's last year. So we have a wonderful senator in this wonderful bullshit state I'm in. That her name is Patty Murray. I don't know if you guys have heard about her, but she's
sorry,
horrible.
dude. We're in a red state.
I
I
wish I was. No, I'm in Washington.
Oh, that's
State.
right up there too.
No, he's in Washington.
Last year for Memorial Day, she did. We went to the National Cemetery here, and all remembering our fallen. She gets up there and decides she wants to talk about vets. So me being me, I stood up and say, "Why are you talking about vets when my brothers and sisters are buried out there? When there's a full separate day for veterans? This is for Memorial Day." And she had the dumbest look on her face because I called her out.
Yep.
And it's like, have respect for the day. Don't try to push it out to something else.
Yeah. So it's one of those.
And I mean, maybe like graduation, high school, maybe they need to take everyone for a trip to a national cemetery. Because I mean, for me, I was in charge of burying my son. Okay, and when he told me that that was my responsibility, I actually went to the DFW National Cemetery for the first time in my life. I always just thought, there was the one in DC that was real big, and but when you go there and you really just see, the detail, the way they line up the headstones, and I mean, it's all so intricate and so many, and I mean, to me, that was just like a reality check. I was like, holy smokes, maybe in high schools they should run every class out there before they graduate. Let's do a tour and give them a little dose of how things, really are.
Exactly.
And what it really means.
Exactly. So that that's the one thing that, like I said, it's hurtful because you would think that people would be more inclined to know the history as to why something's happening. Like right now we're living in a cancel culture where we're just a few years ago we were canceling everything from left to the sun, or all these Confederate things that were being canceled, like all these even the military bases are being renamed because they had Confederate ties or whatever. Fort Bragg, they named it like Fort Liberty or something like that. I mean, it was just all this culture of change was dumb. I'm sorry, like I'm just gonna call it as it is. It's dumb. Why are you going to be changing something? Don't change history. You can't change history. Just don't repeat it. That's what it is. But it's part of our history. It's part of the US wouldn't be the US if we didn't go through that crap. I'm sorry. It is what it is, right?
The US wouldn't be the US if it wasn't for us.
Exactly.
And our fallen brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
The US would be nothing.
Exactly.
We'd all be speaking jolly day, drinking tea and
crumpets and all sorts of weird stuff going on. Who knows what?
Absolutely.
I have a story about that. So I was in boot camp, And you know, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish, even though the people don't think that people think I don't. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I was speaking Spanish. There was other recruits that were with me. This is my active duty time. It was in the Navy, and we were there. We were just having a conversation between, you know, 2 or 3 people. I think it was just two or three of us. And the master of arms, who is basically the sergeant at arms, was like, "We speak English here," and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" She's like, "We only speak English here." I was like, first of all, it was a private conversation that we're having amongst each other. It's like, you just butter your way into it because you felt uncomfortable, thought we were talking about you. Has nothing to do with you. And second of all, don't tell me what's official and what's not. When the U.S. doesn't even have an official language at all, right? As a whole, we don't have an official language. Each state has an official language, which is it's English. But as a whole, as a nation, the United States does not have an official language. The closest we came, it was after a vote, and I believe it was somebody check my facts because I'm not googling anything right now. But it came out down to a vote where it actually fell short of 3 votes to be the official language would have been German. And people don't even know that.
I mean, some of my people, you know, mine were Polish and German. I mean, I can't speak either one of them, but it is a melting pot, you know, and you know, let everybody talk however they want to talk.
And I ain't
You
even
know,
gonna say
mean,
we speak English. I speak American. There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah, exactly. We spell color COLOR, and they spell it COLOUR. You know, or even that
right.
you and a favorite, you know, and then you just go on in different things. But it's dumb. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things. So it just, you know, what really grinds my gears. You know, that's one of those things. Anyway, but let's get back to our guest here. Herb, how many years have you been in business now with your organization?
You know, we started in 2020 was the idea. 2021 we were official, and then that spring we gave our first hives away to y'all, and so that would be 3 years of actually providing, you know, the service, and 4 years of being, you know, legitimate, I guess, incorporated.
Right. And then how many veterans have you given so far that have received hives?
I mean, this year, once we get through it, it should be. I think we're 13 going into this year. We've got 5 or 6, so that'd be 19. I did want to double. We just didn't pick up more vets, you know, and then a couple that are going to be in it. But we do want to do a Gold Star family hive. You know, this year's been different for us, so I didn't really get a chance to incorporate that in, and it's going to be dedicated to one of my son's buddies that was killed over in Syria. Etene Murphy is his name. So
okay, well, that's great that you're doing that for Gold Star Family. You're extending that thing because you know, we tend to forget Gold Star families. I'm sorry, we tend to do that, and it's simply because we only think about the veteran, but we don't never think about the family, and it's a sad reality, at least in my point of view. So so thank you for doing that. So, but we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back and do the rapid fire questions for Herb. And we're going to be joined by our next guest here in a minute. So Herb, stand by for a little bit. We are going to go on a break.
All righty.
This is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I'm joined by Big Grizz with the Big Grizz Show, and Herb from Beekeepers for Vets. So stick around just a minute. We will be right back.
In my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one knows, hides the face, lies a snake, disgrace, boiling heat, summer stench, neath the black sky looks dead. Call my name through the cream, and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Stood a rain, cold and damp, still the warm wind, tired friend. Times are gone for honest man, sometimes far too long for snakes in my shoes, walking sleep in my youth. I pray to keep heaven sent hell away. No one seems like you anymore. Black hole star, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole star, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole star, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole star, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you hang my head, drown my fear, till you all just disappear. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain.
that was Black Hole Sun by Jen Ford. That song, man, that was dark. I mean, it's kind of been one of those moods there lately. Thanks, Herb. Never asking you to come back again.
Man, I didn't realize that song was so dark till it was slowed down and without all the heavy metal music playing.
Exactly.
I love that song though, but
It's a great song. Don't get me wrong. I think if I read it correctly, I think it does speak about a lot of issues that's going on mentally and
yeah.
a lot of the things that people are struggling with all the time.
I always thought that song was went back to like heroin addicts.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other song that he does is Spoon Man, so perfect.
There you go.
Right?
So you want to jump into your rapid questions or whatever?
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
a comment that we received on LinkedIn. I'm assuming it's for Herb. It says, "What's the biggest challenge for running the business?"
You know, really just getting funds and finding veterans that want to be beekeepers. Um, I don't know that I really look at it like a business. I mean, I know it is. If I looked at it like that, we'd be closing our doors. So gaining funds, right now, fortunately, we do raise some. And we're fortunate enough that what we don't raise, we can float ourselves. So, it's all good in that aspect.
Yeah. I do find that the biggest thing is that not everybody has the area or the time and the location to actually even have bees. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest things. And people don't really know too much about it to really know about it. I know somebody that actually had reached out to Herb and was like, "Oh no, yeah, I really, really want it. Really want it." I was like, "Well, why do you want it?" Um, and was all because they wanted to do the ag exemption for it. I'm like, that's not the reason why we do it. That is not one of the reasons why we're giving you, given our time, to teach, our time
Right.
to mentor and stuff like that. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, and
Yeah.
you had no reason, no idea as to what to do it or why you wanted to do it. You just wanted it for the ag exemption. That's not what we do. Sorry.
No, no, it's for the mental aspect of it. That's why we started up, and that's our sole purpose is to help the veterans. Whether it's just to give them something to do, or there's healing properties to it. And I know you see stuff posted all the time, people sleeping on beehives with the frequency and all that. And I can't say that I can get into the specifics because I just like the bees and know that they help. And
Well, everybody
and
does
I've
it for a
seen
different
it
reason.
firsthand. Yeah,
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 everybody does it for a different reason. Like I know, like you said earlier today, that people do it because it helps them with the PTSD. Also, some people I've gotten stung, and I know that for that after a while, my headaches were gone for a little while. So I know that
yeah,
the benefit as well.
yeah. They're very beneficial for sure.
All right, so Herb, if somebody wants to contact you, where can they contact you at?
If you go to beekeepersforvets.org, we have email address on there. We also have a phone number. I don't know the phone number offhand, to be honest. We
Oh
don't
my
really
God,
use it. We just have it.
you're such an unprepared guest. I will never have you. No, just kidding.
Man, I didn't think you were going to ask for that. But if I could plug something real quick, we do have this awesome raffle happening.
Oh,
You can go to beekeepersforvets.org to the fundraiser page. It's a M&P FPC Series 9mm carbine with a red
ooh.
dot. It's a 9mm rifle that it folds in half. I know y'all can't see it, but fits in a bag. Pretty cool. Go to the website, check it out. We've only got about 27 tickets left on that.
All right, and then how much are the tickets?
Caesar, $20 each. If you buy 5, you'll get a 6th one free. I think there's 4, maybe 5 of those left. And that's how we really raise funds besides, local shows selling honey.
Mhm.
The raffles will be on there all the time. So anybody just go there, check it, and we should have something up.
Yep. And then like any other nonprofit organization, Herb and his wife pretty much fund a lot of this out of their own pocket. So we try to help them as much as we can with what we can, and try to get sponsors and other members to actually help us out so they don't incur the entire cost of it. But Herb, thank you so much for joining us today. we are going to let you plug in one more time and see what it is, and where it is that they can people actually find you. Again, I want to remind people that his organization is currently in the North Texas area, most likely anywhere from Oklahoma, a little bit of Oklahoma, a little bit down toward like Waxahachie type of area, I think.
Right now, and we will eventually. We're going to move to Oklahoma and expand more there. We're just a mom and pop shop, beekeepersforvets.org. Go there, check us out, read our story. If you want to get involved, reach out. We're looking for mentors, other veterans to be in the program. If you're a beekeeper and you're a veteran, that would even be more helpful. So we do appreciate it, Caesar.
Yeah, we
I
just
appreciate
got a there it is, right there in front of you. Joseph Laswell, thank you so much for listening to us, and thanks for the shout out to Herb. Like I said, he does this out of his own heart, and it started because he saw his son sitting in front of the beehive outside, just staring into infinity and not knowing why.
not knowing why, and I know now, and I'm doing what I can to spread it to all the veterans I can.
Exactly.
And
So
with your help, I appreciate you, Caesar.
of
You and
course, man.
Cynthia. You never. I mean, more than you know.
Dude, we're here for you, even though I canceled on you twice already.
Hey, man, it is what it is. We'll get it done. I'm not
Yeah,
sweating
exactly.
it at all.
We'll get it done.
Yep.
So, Herb, thanks so
All
much
right.
for joining
Appreciate
us.
it.
Have a
Yep.
great day. Hey, have fun at Choctaw. I'm plugging in Choctaw Casino tonight, and they're not even my sponsor yet. I'm working on it, but hey, have fun at the casino. I hope you win big because you're gonna take me out to dinner.
I will, man.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one.
See you later.
Good to see you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man. All right, bye.
Bye. All right.
I don't.
That was
I don't
that was
know that I
Herb.
know how to get out of here.
Just exit out, brother. Exit out. All right. That was a Herb Kuter from Beekeepers for vets.org. And now I'm joined by a very, very good friend of mine, Billy Teague. Billy is from the Texoma area as well. He is the founder of Texoma Heroes. And I'm going to let him speak about this organization. But first, I want to actually say that Billy is not only a veteran, he is a Marine Corps veteran. So for all our Marine Corps people that are out there, I normally have Lynn Toomer out here be like, oh yeah, just to give me that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's synonymous for Marines who always do that, but it is. So it is what it is. But Billy is he retired. Did you retire, right?
Medically retired, yeah.
You retired from
Yes.
From the Marine Corps, and he retired not I want to say not long ago, because I think you were reserves, right?
Yeah, I was in the Guard, and I my 100% disability come through about a year and a half ago.
Right.
So I went ahead and retired. Officially, I retired January of this year. So
they're officially from his other job too. So that's how it goes. Exactly. So, but it's good. But the reason why I brought Billy in is because Billy does such a great thing for to recognize veterans. His foundation, it's called Texoma Heroes. What he does is that he I'm not that I'm speechless, is I'm just trying to really highlight the reason why his work is important. He takes the time to actually recognize a lot of people in our community here in the Dallas area, in Texoma area, mostly Texoma, that go above and beyond of just being a veteran, that have outshined and I have done different things outside of the military and have continued to do it outside in the community, that their work never stops. He is a definition of veterans helping veterans one another. I know that's your thing, Grizz, but I think that's what we all strive to do, veterans helping veterans. And this man is the one that I can always say that he's always looking out for all other veterans that that we that get recognized for the things that they do. So Billy, go ahead and tell us, how did it all start and where did it come from? Because I know your story, but I want you to tell the story, the reason why this was important to you.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me on your podcast today. This is quite an honor to be able to come on here and talk about something
The honor is ours. The honor is ours.
Thank you. Just try and make the story a little bit quicker because it is a long story. My dad was retired Army, 23 years, had a very distinguished career. He was a man that a lot of people would want to look up to and say, hey, I want to be like him. And I don't know that he ever had an enemy. He was a good guy, even being a drill sergeant for 5 years in the Army. But he passed away in April of 2011. And I was there at the hospital when they brought the body out on the gurney. They were going to transport him to the funeral home, and they had what they called a transport cover that was over his body. Mm-hmm. And looked like a gaudy piece of indoor-outdoor carpet. And they explained to me that it's big and it's heavy, so the wind don't blow it off and so forth. But I stood there as his body was passing in front of me, thinking, why didn't I have the foresight or the forethought to bring an American flag? Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, in my heart, if anybody deserved being covered by our flag to the transport to the funeral home, it was him. So that was my inspiration in starting. His name was William R. Teague, and I started the WRT Terminally Ill Veteran Flag Program. And I just retired, like I said, in January as a nurse. Been a nurse 32 years. I was working in hospice at that time, and which kind of connected me with especially a lot of veterans who were terminally ill. And so starting this program, I would go to the nursing home, funeral homes, or not the funeral homes, but the nursing home, the hospital, assisted living, wherever the veteran may be. I would go there at the request of the family, present him or her a flag, salute them, tell them how much we love them and appreciate their service. And then whenever they passed away, that flag was meant to cover their body to the funeral home. Then I'd go to the funeral home, retrieve the flag, refold it, and present it to the family at family night. Usually I didn't go to the funerals because they had many of our vets have military honors at the graveside. So, but the difference between that flag and the one that is placed over the coffin, that veteran got to interact with that flag. He or she got to hold it, and it meant something to them, and it meant something to the family when the family got the flag back.
Right.
So I was doing this program. I started it in 2013, roughly about a year and a half after my dad passed away. I finally got all the details going on it. And I was called by, I actually took the written program to Hot 107 radio here in Sherman. And I talked to Rob, who was the general manager then, and said, hey, can you put this out on the air that if there's a veteran in our area who's terminally ill, call me. Let me get them a flag. And a few months later, he called me and he said, we're wanting to start a program. In fact, I have got a name he was excited. He said, I've already got this name copyrighted. We're ready to go. Can you start us a program that recognizes veterans, but not terminally ill vets? Mm-hmm. And so I put pen to paper and we worked on it for 6 months or so. And in January 2015, we had our first Texoma Heroes ceremony. And the criteria was that the veteran serves honorably in the military, and that since being discharged from the military, they've made some significant contributions to the community. And that could be anything from scout leader to deacon in their church to help their church to we have one gentleman that goes out and volunteers and builds wheelchair ramps. I always say if I had to sit down and write a script and name the 131 people that I've recognized, I couldn't have picked a better 131 people. It's been a God thing for me to be able to. I mean, my goodness, I presented a flag to a World War II nurse when there was like 12 of them left. A Tuskegee Airmen. I presented a flag to him, one of those gentlemen,
wow.
about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And they've always been my heroes. Those guys are, man, they are the top notch of red tails. And I've got to meet so many incredible people that the blessing is mine. I mean, I'm blessed. You know, when I can present a flag to somebody, stand there and feel that my dad's standing next to me and we're both saluting them, that's how I get my pay. That's how I get blessed.
Right. That's amazing.
So we've, we've done, and we're in our 10th season of doing Texoma Heroes, and we've done 112 ceremonies as of April 1st, or actually the end of April. We've recognized 113 veterans of all branches, all ranks, all MOSs.
Including some honorary people that were not veterans.
We've had 16 honoraries that are people in our community. They're not veterans. They didn't serve, but their love for our veteran community is second to none. Yeah. These are people that volunteer at the VA and they do different things. And then we've had 2 veterans that we've recognized. One got, sadly, he lost his life in Afghanistan. And the other gentleman, we were going to honor him and he passed away. So we went ahead and still had honored him. So in 9 years, 4 months, we have recognized and presented 131 American flags. And I'm at all every time I think about it. It's something.
You could just definitely tell that it just comes from your heart. But when we come back from the break, I want you to
feel his emotion.
Yeah. Dude, I go to these ceremonies every week or every month for the last year and a half, and they're moving. There are a lot of them moving. I'll share a couple of anecdotes.
Well, if I could add before we go to break, you are one of our Texoma Heroes.
Yeah, I don't broadcast that a lot.
Well, you deserve it, man.
Well, thank you. I don't do. Both my wife and I are of the understanding that we're kind of like the silent servant types, that we just do whatever and we don't expect anything in return. It's not what it's about. For me, it's not. And I've said this before. It's not what it's about. I am not. I just do. I have a voice that I can help. I have 2 hands that I can serve with, and that's it. I don't anticipate anybody to tell me, oh, good job, or I don't need somebody to tell me that I'm doing a good job when I know that we are doing everything for everybody else. Everybody else has bigger needs than me sometimes. And like our NCO creed is like, no one's more professional than I, and I will put my needs in front of my needs behind all my other soldiers, or something like that to that effect. But that's what we'll do. So anyway, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back because I want you to tell a story that you tell every month about the little boy. The little boy seeing his dad come back. So stand by real quick. We're going to come back with Billy. He's from Texoma Heroes, the foundation that actually recognizes heroes here in the Sherman, Denison, and the surrounding areas in Texas. So we'll come back. He's going to tell us about this story about this little 9-year-old boy coming back, seeing his dad come back from Vietnam. So stand by.
60 years went rolling by. It was here we said goodbye. The war was brewing, it was extreme. We were only teens. I knew the day I died, all alone, my brand new bride. Our favorite song would be a sign I'd be back in time. So raise a flag with pride and grace. I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say I'm a soldier of the USA. You weren't alone all these years. I've seen you cry, I know your tears. You raised our child and a family, all without me. You've done well with your life, lots of friends by your side. I heard a nightly secret prayer, I was always there. So raise our flag with pride and grace, I seen the pain on a soldier's face. Bring me home, both sides say, I'm a soldier of the USA. Now it's time, my lovely wife, bring you home, say goodnight. Close your eyes to our favorite song. Can you see me now? Can you see me now? One day we'll come back in time for those we leave behind, but for now we'll watch them grow. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
All right, welcome back to the Bottle Rhythm Podcast. Man, that was a deep song, man. That was a super cool. That you know, some of the things we don't really think about sometimes. That you know, we do this. So,
Bro, kind of reminded me of the heartfelt Johnny Cash songs.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, not the deep voice, but it was that same kind of genre of music, like Johnny Cash did.
It's crazy that people don't really realize that Johnny Cash was even in the Air Force.
Yeah.
You know, people don't even know that. Like, there's so many celebrities that we didn't even think about that were actually have been in the military. Like I think the highest ranking one was actually Jimmy Stewart, where he was a brigadier general.
Mm-hmm.
Was he really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think he's the highest ranking one, because then you know, like right down the road from where Billy and I live here in Hunt County. You've heard, you're Army, so you know Audie Murphy.
Yeah.
Audie Murphy was born about 30 minutes from where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
In Kingston, Texas, which is actually
wow.
always on my way to work. So yeah, I always pass by, and then there's actually a mural there. I should probably stop by and actually take a picture one of these days. But it's always, like, I always come by, like, you know, I always go by there by like 5 a.m. I'm like, I'm not stopping. So, but anyway, we're joined here by Billy Teague. He is the the founding member of Texoma Hero, and he told us the story of how this all went about. But every time he actually does one of the Texoma Hero ceremonies, and we do it every month, the last Friday of the month at 12 o'clock. And next Friday, I am sorry, I am not going to be there. I somehow got pulled into doing a show at 12 o'clock. So I will not be able
thank
to
you.
Exactly, because we're I'm not going to put it out yet. Anyway, I won't be able to be there, but I know that there's other people that from the post that are actually will be there, and they will be able to actually help you set up and all that stuff. So you know already that's going to be done. But Billy Teague is going to tell us the story as to how there's a little boy, 9-year-old boy. Now I'll let him tell the story. So go ahead, Billy.
Well, this is meant for all veterans coming home from combat, but more especially for our Vietnam veterans when they came home. And there was this little boy, and his dad went to Vietnam, and his mother suggested he put a calendar up on the wall, and every day that goes by, he mark an X on the calendar, so that way he could see. Because you got to understand, his dad wasn't just his dad; it was his best friend, his hero. So as the year progressed, he kept marking X's and X's, and he knew he was getting closer to the time that his hero was going to be coming home. He heard stories of his dad going down in a Chinook and surviving. Heard stories of the enemy coming in at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning into their camp, and them being able to successfully fend off the VC. He heard all these stories, but he never lost hope, and he never lost faith that one day and one day soon, those X's would stop and his dad would be coming home. And so it came time. He had one day left. Tomorrow, his dad was going to be coming home, and he was excited, couldn't sleep, got up that morning. His mother and him and his grandparents all went down to this little country airport called Love Field in Dallas. At the time, it was little. And I always tell the story that, back then you could go to the
tarmac.
You could go right there to where your loved one was getting on the plane and leaving. And you could stand there and you could wave at them as the plane was taxiing back. And so he and his mother and grandparents went to was at the gate, and the doors open, and his heart just was about to explode, man. I mean, his everything that he had lived for a whole 12 months was about to come true. His dad was about to be there. So the doors open, and a lot of battle weary men coming off the plane. Some of them still in their fatigues, duffel bags. I've heard stories of them calling them when they were out in the field, said, "Hey, you're on the way home, go." Mm-hmm. And his dad was one of them. But all these soldiers kept coming off the plane, and he's like, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?" And he thought, surely he's here. His dad was one of the last ones to come off the plane. He couldn't hardly see his dad very well because his skin was so dark from the sun. And of course, his dad wasn't white. He was Native American, and so he was dark anyway. But what he did recognize was his dad's eyes and his dad's teeth when his dad smiled. He ran up and he jumped in his dad's arms. And I mean, everything in the world was right. Nothing could have messed that up. His hero was home. He made it back from Vietnam. And as the little boy and he got between his dad and his mom, and he left hand he held his dad, and right hand he held his mom, and he's bebopping and walking out of the airport just on cloud nine. And back then they had barricades set up, and because of freedom of speech, people could stand on either side of the barricades and say what they want. They didn't just always say what they wanted, though. They would spit, they would throw things. They were just very vulgar about it. Mm-hmm. And was calling curse words to his dad. And, for him to be a young kid, he looked up at his mother and he says, "Why did they hate daddy?" She says, "Son, they don't hate your daddy." And they got a little bit further before they got to the end of the airport where they were going to go out and get in their car. And it got louder and louder, and more throwing stuff and more spitting and more cursing. And he said, "Mommy, they hate my daddy. Why?" And she said, "Son, they don't hate him. They just don't know what he's done for them." Mm-hmm. And he got out. They got out, got in their car, and went home. And, I always say for the last 54 years, I've seen that little boy every morning. When that little boy gets up and goes to shave and shower, that's me. I look in the mirror and I see that little boy. Yeah. And so when people ask me, they say, why do you do this? Why do you feel like you have to honor veterans? What's the big deal? I do it because of what they've done for us. Right. And because there's a lot of other people out there that won't do it. And, I've made a promise to God, as long as I've got breath left in me, I will do whatever I can to be there for our men and women who have served us. Right. And like you were talking about earlier, I'm not so proud that I'm going to say, well, hey, I'm a veteran too. No, that's not my job to say. I am a veteran and I'm proud of being a veteran, but there are men and women out there who have done hundreds of things more than I ever did in the service. Right. And I can't thank them enough. I can't say, hey, sometimes I walk up. I had a gentleman over in Gainesville. Let me tell you real quick. He was out in the foyer of the community center, and I was on the inside, and I'd seen his ball cap, and it said World War II vet. And I went out and I put my hand out and I shook his hand, and I said, "Thank you for your service, sir." He didn't want to let my hand go, and he said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Sure." He said, "I came home in 1945 from the war. I seen some pretty bad combat."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You are the first person that has ever thanked me for my service." And this was just a few 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm like, I told him, I said, "No, sir, I'm not saying you're not telling the truth, but that's hard for me to believe."
Yeah.
And he said, "No one has ever come up and shook my hand and said, 'Thank you for your service.'"
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so easy for us to, from our heart, to be able to recognize our vets for what they've done for us.
Exactly. And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for us to even recognize one another. Like I know that we make fun of one another quite visibly and quite, boisterous.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's hard to just even be, thankful. We're like, hey man, thanks for your service. I don't know what you went through, but we don't know what you went through.
Mhm.
And organizations like the American Legion and the VFW allows us to
Mhm.
actually be around people that actually have the same type of mentality where we will help each other or we'll support one another in different fashion, and recognize those people that just want to keep serving, because these organizations, they're all about service. Believe it or not, they're all about service. But the
Mhm.
biggest thing is that you as an individual have to be willing to get involved.
Mhm.
I make
So,
it a point if I'm out, and even how you can tell just by looking at somebody in the military, even if they don't have a veteran hat on or anything, you being a vet, you can just tell there's another
yeah.
vet close.
Yep.
I make it a point. It don't matter if they're young, older than me, my age. I'm gonna tell them thank you for their service, no matter what. I don't care if I'm at a gas station, in the middle of a bank, or in the middle of a football game. It doesn't matter. That's where, I mean, you see a lot of that respect coming nowadays with younger kids, because our generation, these kids nowadays are seeing what we go through, and they're like my daughter. She knows I was in the military. She was deployed. She makes a very big point to talk to people
Hmm.
about being in the military. So our generation raising our kids sees what we went through, and they're having more respect than these last couple generations have had.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate that the generations after us, and that's one of the reasons I was saying this earlier, that's one of the reasons why I had to get out. I needed to get out because there's no respect of authority anymore. I'm sorry, there's not. We're seeing that with our young children when you and I were raised. It was like, hey, mom looked at you in the middle of the of church service, and that look was just like, hey,
Yeah.
stop it, or something's gonna
Yep.
happen. That
Oh, yeah.
flying chancla is gonna come right at you and
Yeah.
right in between your
Or
eyes.
you wait till
Um,
we get outside.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
it's all, I'll give you a reason to cry, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's like, as soon as you raise your voice at your kids, all other parents or everybody that's around you are looking at you like, oh my god, you are so mean to your kid. I'm like, no, we're not mean to our kid. We're like teaching them how to be disciplined, how to act in
Mhm.
public. A lot of these kids that have no respect whatsoever for
None.
authority figures.
I love it when when people say or look at me funny like that, or say something to me. I was like, "You want to be my kid right now? We can take this outside and we can deal with this real fast."
Exactly. Or
They don't
what's
like
the
they
other
don't
one,
like hearing that.
I'm trying to, like I've said this, Gen X, like we grew up with, like, again, we grew up with thick skin because our parents insulted us right off the bat.
Bro,
Come
I
here,
don't
you
think they
idiot,
liked us.
yeah, like, come here, you idiot, like, like they have to be reminded what are you kids home? Like,
Yeah.
shoot, I remember like 10 o'clock, I was like, oh wait, are the kids even home? Like, let's go check out let's go check in the room. We're not even home.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
raised as like a latchkey kid. I mean, I remember walking home from when I was like, 6th grade by myself all the way to the house. we're just a different generation. Well, anyway, my point with that is that I try to be the same way my parents were with my children now, and it's like people look at me all crazy, like, why are you talking to your kid like that? I was like, that's how I was talked to by my parents. Like, hey, hold the damn flashlight. Like, what the hell are you doing? Are you an idiot? You know, it's like I grew thick skin because of that. Like, you know what? Your insults are really not gonna know. My dad did better than that. Like my mom hits better than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's one of those things. But I guess just my point is that like there's no respect nowadays, and we are losing that respect. And I think a lot of it has to do with, in my opinion, there's only two reasons why. Parents, the authority of parents is pretty much stripped away by them to actually, you know, other people or even the government saying, oh, you know, that's child abuse because you've spanked your child. There's a difference between a spanking and a beating. I'm sorry, there is. Right? You spank them only when they do something wrong, and be like, you know what, I'm going to correct this behavior and I'm going to spank you, but I'm not going to beat you. There's a difference. And then two is that we as a society have, again, cancel culture, right? We've canceled and we've taken out God out of our prayers and God out of our schools. And I mean, I don't know. Do you guys chime in on this? Because I think that's a big, huge difference. The reason as to why now
right
these
there
kids
with
are not listening to anything that we're saying. You know what I mean? And now we're having all these issues where they're, you know, all these kids are running rampant, are doing dumb things.
We
Like,
were raised God country family.
Yep.
That's exactly how it was. Now it's these kids are getting raised. Well, it depends on what you want your gender to be. Oh, we don't want to offend you, or we don't want to do. No, it is God country family. That's how it should be. There shouldn't be no difference in it. That's how all kids should be raised, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of gun country family or gun, I
think the generation, it's been just a slow progression over time, because there was even men in my generation. Of course, I had I don't want to say luxury, but I had the upbringing of my dad, who was a drill sergeant at the time. I was in my mid to late teens. So, and he was a drill sergeant for 5 years. So when I got to Parris Island, I will never forget, there was guys jumping out the window in the middle of the night. They were cutting their wrist. They were going crazy. They hadn't had that type of exposure. I got there and I'm like, man, I'm home. What's wrong with you guys? You know? And so I've raised my kids with that type of discipline, but not like they're in boot camp or nothing. I raised it where it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Yep. Somebody's ahead of you and you can reach up and open the door for them. You do it. So far, I am so blessed. I've got 4 children and none of them's never been in trouble. So
they also have no teeth. I'm just saying.
Right. No. I didn't. I wasn't big on spanking or anything like that. I was kind of like what you said earlier. I had the eye. I could just look at them, snap my eye at them, and just give them that look.
Right.
And if we were in the store and they said, "Oh, can I have that toy?" I just look at them, and they would just be okay.
Yeah. I never laid a hand on my children. I never spanked them, never nothing. But I got Shrek hands, and they knew if I went like this, they were sorry and they walked away, because they knew it was going to hurt the side of the head more than an ass whooping would. Because I would just flick them, and I'd never once laid a hand on my kids, but it made them listen. And all I had to do was hold my hand up.
All right. Well, I'm going to hold my hand up right now. We're going to go to a quick break. We are going to come back and talk with Billy a little bit more about his beating his children. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Another regular day, nobody knows. It's that time, he's coming home to them from a foreign land.
He pulls up, his mama cries, looks at daddy with tears in his eyes and says, nothing feels better than this. Couple of months go by and no one sees. Something just ain't right, all he wants is peace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free and put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, this is a man's best friend. Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. Whoa, whoa. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
All right, that was Ryan Spencer with "Make 22-0 Again." That's actually a pretty cool song too, man. We've just got this theme today of a really good songs that are just deep, that have a good message.
There's been some deep
especially
songs
for
for
Memorial
sure.
Day.
Yeah.
Especially for Memorial Day. But real quick, I want to give out a shout out to one of our listeners. Actually, it's not a listener per se, but it's another foundation, the Military Veteran Peer Network, out of the Walker House here in Denison. They're actually streaming us live right now, so thank you guys so much. Hey, the phone number is there if you guys want to call in. So I'm challenging you guys to call in. So we're live right now. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. So I know Billy is very well aware of that foundation. because we've had several people actually that have been Texoma Heroes that actually work for that foundation.
Sharon is one of them. She's one of our recent Texoma Heroes, and I've known her for quite a few years now. And she's a go-getter, and man, she does a lot for our vets. And of course, she's a Navy vet herself. So
the other person that actually used to work there was Penny Pula.
Yes, Penny.
Penny's
one of our Texoma Heroes.
Her predecessor, actually, is the one that actually was there. And then I think my memory doesn't serve me well anymore. But anyway, yeah. So it's shout out to them. They're probably gonna be calling in right now. I doubt it though. They probably like, yeah, we got better things to do. Yeah, I think they're serving lunch. That's probably what it is too. So, but anyway, Billy, I first of all, let me just say this on the record, because I was talking to Cindy Unofficer, and she's one of your right hand people for this program, and I think she's like your detailed guy, like your detailed person. He's like, oh, she tells you, hey, I need to do this, and this is going to happen, or how it's going to go. Yeah. And I was like, hey, we need to do something for Billy. She's like, I think we already did. I was like, I don't know. I don't think we have. So I did. She said, yeah. She said we have, but I'm doing it for my show because this is my tribute to you. I appreciate every single thing that you've done for the last 10 years. You have taken once a month, you take one name and you vet that person left and right to make sure that they have done what they have said they've done out in the military and outside of the military. And you have spent thousands of hours doing the work that you do, and all stemmed because you of your own personal experience that you have given homage to your dad on how it all started. So for me, being get emotional. Being a member of an alumni of Texoma Hero, thank you. You. I don't have words. You do so much for a lot of people. Yeah. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Making me tear up here now.
I'm trying to write up the ratings there, so that just the emotion just carries. So, no, thank you so much. It means a lot. It doesn't like I said, I don't do it because I want to be recognized. I do it because I love helping other people, and if I can help with this medium, this podcast, recognizing people that actually make a difference. I mean, I'm doing something that not a lot of people have. A lot of people don't have the gift of gab, like I call it. I have that because sure, Lord knows I don't have the face. So, but thank you so much I know that Big Riz, he doesn't know how much you do out in our community, but I do thank you for doing that. And it takes a bigger person that always looking for somebody else to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Somebody with a big heart.
Oh, this man, yeah, that's without saying, man. And this dude is top notch, and I consider him one of my friends. And so thank you, Billy, for that. And we're still supposed to go. We're still supposed to go to the casino.
I know.
Let me tell the story. So we live right next to Lake Texoma. If nobody knows, Lake Texoma is actually an album by Blake Shelton, because Blake Shelton has a house in Lake Texoma, somewhere around the Oklahoma side, because he's from Oklahoma. Anyway, so there is a gas station right as soon as you go toward where the docks are at, because I have mine actually has a boat, and we go out there all the time. And he's like, we stopped there to stock up, your liquid beverages and your ice and whatever else. And we're going. So I don't know. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I look over and I see Billy, playing the slots. I was like, Billy, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I'm just wasting time. I just got off work. I was like, oh, like, you've been here long? He's like, I don't know, a couple hours. I was like, don't you want to go home and sleep? He's like, I'll sleep when I sleep when I, when I retire. And I'm like, and this is like a couple months before you actually even retired.
Mhm.
He's sitting there going, he's like, but then he thought I was a different person. And not, again, it was just because I think it was like the first or second time I actually met you.
Right, right.
And so he thought I was somebody else. He's like, oh, you just look like another. Coincidentally, I think that person actually his name was also Caesar.
Yeah.
And and so he's like, Caesar, hey, what's up? Like, I think he was talking to me, not the other Caesar. He's like, hey, we have to go the Choctaw casino, and we'll just go like play over there. I was like, random, but yeah, sure. Like, why not? And it was just ever since then, it was like every time I see him, it was like, hey, let's go to the casino. He's like, yeah, we'll just go.
Yeah.
And in the last 6 months, Billy has involved me a little bit more in the organization, and I don't know why. Maybe because of podcast, maybe because of something else. But I was able to actually nominate a couple people and actually have input on a couple people on who's been a Texoma Hero, and one of he was so gracious enough to actually allow us to piggyback on his ceremony last month for one of our veterans. His name is and I talk about this guy all the time on my podcast because I'm so in awe, and I'm such a history geek that knowing the fact that this man was a 3-war veteran, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and as a Marine, nonetheless, as a Marine, came out and still alive and actually still walking around, and people you would never know why he's around, right? Or what he did. His biggest contribution to history, even in Marine history, is that he was a survivor of the Chosen Frozen, or the Frozen Chosen, whichever, different variations of how it is. But the first Marine Division was actually heavily under fire in November 1950 for 27 days, or 19 days, or 27 days, or something like that. They were taking, a lot of losses. There was about 8,000 troops there in the Chosen Reservoir, and there was over 100,000, I would say, Chinese soldiers that were basically attacking him all the time. And we told this story at the ceremony because we call him the Tootsie Roll Man. He is a 95-year-old Marine that walks around with a beat up Folgers can full of Tootsie Rolls. Those Tootsie Rolls are actually imprinted with the wrapper is an American flag. The symbolism behind that is that during the Chosen Reservoir time that they were there, the code word that they were going to use over the radio from the radio man was Tootsie Rolls for any artillery, any armament, or any type of explosive that we're going to send in that they needed. Well, the story goes is that the radio man knew what it was. It was like, yeah, we need Tootsie Rolls now, meaning that, hey, we need an attack on this position. The radio man on the other side receiving the message, that's like, that's odd. Why are they saying that they need Tootsie Rolls? Anyway, lo and behold, they get pallets and pallets and pallets among pallets of Tootsie Rolls delivered to them. So he accredits Mr. Hahn accredits him being alive now because of Tootsie Rolls, and you'll see him with the Tootsie Roll in his mouth every day. He's like, I eat these all the time. He's like, these are great. But the reason why they use the Tootsie Rolls is like not only for subsistence, because they were running low on food because it was frozen. It was like 90 degrees under zero, and he said they were using Tootsie Rolls, heat them up a little bit, and actually put them and stick them into the bulkheads of the wherever they were, the wall, the bulkhead, or wherever they were at, and because it was so cold, they would refreeze and it would plug up the hole.
Oh wow!
So this dude, so the all of the people that were actually there, they're called the Frozen Chosen, right? But the people that survived, they're called the Chosen Few.
Yeah.
And not long ago, before his wife passed away, they actually had a reunion of the survivors that were there, and I think it was in San Diego. Actually, they flew them out. It was there. dude, this guy is a big piece of American history that nobody really knows about, and we have, you know, one of the biggest battles of the Marine Corps living in our, you know, in our backyard. And every time I talk to him, you know, he's still sharp. He's 95.
Yeah.
I set up all the media stuff for him, and I'm gonna play that video probably next week and stuff about, you know, him, because he was actually highlighted and spotlighted in the local news. And the anchor, she was actually on my first show, Bailey Vaughn. He, man, as a 95-year-old, 96-year-old, this dude still spit game, man. He's just out there, you know, flirting with her. He's like, "Hey, give me a kiss." I was like, "Oh my god!" And she's like, "Oh my god, Jim is just Jim." I was like, "No, Jim's an old dirty man." You know, like, he'll get away with it, but you know, he was very respectful. Don't get me wrong. He was just like, "God dang," you know, like, she calls him Jim.
Have you ever noticed that older generation, whether it's vets or just old timers?
Oh yeah.
They flirt like no tomorrow.
Oh my god, because they can get away with it. I had a good friend of mine. His name was John
Looking forward
Kegel.
to being 70.
Yeah, dude, I had a good friend of mine. His name was John Kegel. Billy, do you remember John Kegel?
The name is familiar. Yeah.
Okay, so he was a truck driver that always parked his big rig out in the VFW on our parking lot. Anyway, but he was in his 80s. He was 82. He passed away last year when I was in Korea. Remember, I was in Korea last year when I went to work, and he passed away while I was there. And before I left to Korea, he had been in the hospital, and we had gone in there. We, you know, check on him, and I would go in, you know, when I was off, and, you know, check on him, make sure he was all right, because he hated being in the hospital. He died of cancer, terminal cancer, and at the very end of his life, he just you could see that he was already defeated. He didn't want to be around. He didn't want to be, you know, he's like, why? He's like, I've lived a full life, and he just didn't want to be around. But my whole thing is, when we were at the hospital, the first time he actually went into the hospital, my wife and I were there, and then a couple of our friends were there. We went to see him, and the nurse came by, and you know how they actually have to go in and scan his band, and the girl was kneeling down, didn't expect anything like that, right? He's kneeling down, and he goes, it's like, "Hey, do you notice anything about my last name?" It's like, his last name was Kegel. Right? And then all of a sudden he goes on to, he's like, "Dude, seriously?" And he's like, "Oh, while you're down there."
Dude, they're bad.
Wow.
They're bad.
I was like,
it's so easy to flirt with nurses, because even when I was in the hospital and I was completely blind, man, I was flirting with everything. I could hear their voices. And of course I'm going to flirt. I can't see what's going on. I don't got no shame. I mean,
you're seeing me in all my glory.
Exactly. I'm in a gown.
Yeah.
Billy,
I know you had a story. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to tell you all the ceremonies that we've done. You know, I can pretty well recall each one of them, but there was one that was, to this day, is still, when I think about Texoma Heroes and how it's benefited, you know, some of our veterans. I had a gentleman I recognized. He was a door gunner in Vietnam, and you know, you can do the math. And in 1 year, he flew 368 combat missions. That means there was some days he flew more than one mission.
Yeah.
Even
he was shot
that's
down.
A mission a day.
Yeah, they were shot down, and behind where the enemy was at, their area. And he said for about a week, he stayed maybe 2 to 3 hours ahead of the enemy. He would run, and he would literally lean up against a tree and take a nap for a few minutes and then keep going, because he knew the enemy was right behind him. And then finally he got back to the friendlies, to some a base where he was okay. Well, when I presented him the flag and told him that the floor was his, he broke down. He couldn't talk. And so I just thought, well, I'll just ad-lib this, and we'll just keep on going with it. And, you know, I mean, that's fine that he, you know, he's really emotional. I understand that, and I respect that. And so I was just talking about some things about Texoma Heroes, and I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was him. And he come up, he said, I think I can handle it now. And he started talking and telling everybody thank you. And come to find out, this gentleman come back from Vietnam with where he literally went through hell. Came back and became a special education teacher.
Oh wow.
So I mean, he was just giving back his whole life.
That's awesome.
And he told me after the ceremony, he said, he said, this is all built up inside of me. And he said, I'll be honest with you. I don't want you to think bad of me or anything, but he said, I was really contemplating on ending my life. And he said, but today, man, he said, I come up here and I see the love and the everything that you guys are sharing with me. And he says, it's made me realize I am appreciated. I have done something. Mm-hmm. And so I think in a lot of ways, Texoma Heroes, it can be therapeutic. There's times we have ceremonies where everybody, myself and everybody, just cries.
Yeah. There's
times that we laugh, especially when Gunny Han or one of those characters are around. They'll keep us going. But yeah, that's and so in my heart, that's my payment, knowing that I hope that in some way I was able to facilitate this man realizing how much he was appreciated, how much he was loved, and not to be having those bad thoughts about harming himself. And from what I know, he's still doing good today. This was early in the Texoma Hero back around probably 7 years ago or so.
Yep. We've had some characters for sure.
Yeah.
Some have done a lot more in the military, and they range from a cook, which was Mr. Han, to a pilot, flying different missions. That we had. Norm Murky not too long ago was one of ours. Yeah. He was a pilot, and then this is these they may seem insignificant to many people, but they're significant to us, to the ones that are actually being received. So thank you for that. But Billy, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our show today.
Absolutely.
Your foundation and your drive to help others and to recognize others that have extended their service outside of the military, and your commitment to continue to do that, to honor your dad by giving out the flags. It means so much. My wife and I were selected as a Texoma Hero back in March 2023. Mm-hmm. Actually, she didn't know it was a surprise, so that was actually that was the coolest part about my experience with it. Yeah. So that was super cool, and thank you so much for all you do, and I wish you nothing but happiness and health. And I will try to make it next Friday, but I am not promising anything, since I have a show that I supposedly do now. So
it's in the works, and if I can get it, if I can swing it and get it the way I envision it, it's going to be one hell of a show.
Yeah, so we'll be good. Billy, thank you so much for coming out and joining us. And then thanks so much for Big Grizz to trying to keep me in line here, because I went over time a couple times, and it is what it is. This is the beauty of a live show and being here. So thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next week here at the Battle Rhythm Podcast. Next week, we're going to have some, I'm working on getting a very, very well-known TikTok star. He is a Generation X person. So he's a comedy guy.
Hey, that's even better, because I got a TikTok star coming up too. If I can swing that, so that's even going to be funner.
I'm trying to get Nico Ortiz as well. He's the one that does all the different what do you call it? Branches. He's like he wears the Air Force guy. I'm trying to get him, but these guys, once you get a million followers, they don't like pay attention to you anymore. They forget that they're military. So it's all good, whatever. So anyway, but hey, thanks for joining us. This is our show for today. Again, this is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I was joined by Billy Teague, and thank you to our other guest, Herb Kuter with Beekeepers for Vets. If you guys want any more information on it, I will have all the information on my Facebook later on, and you can definitely wait to see this episode live and not live, we'll record it now, but it'll be on Spotify and also on YouTube, and it'll be on my YouTube channel and also be on the MBR YouTube channel. You're listening to MBR. Up next, we have Big Grizz, and thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next week. Thanks, Billy.
Thank y'all.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's MikeBravoRadio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.